What's up guys, Armada here, and in today's video we are actually finally gonna go over the third part of my tier list. I know this video has been requested for a long time and I apologize for this long break, but here we are, part 3 of the tier list. Hope you all enjoy. So in this video we start off with the most iconic Nintendo character of all time, Mario. Mario, I would say, is a very decent character. He doesn't have any super big strengths, but also no super big weaknesses either. He's kind of mediocre at everything. And if you look at Mario in a lot of different games, even outside of Smash, this kind of feels like the way they intend Mario to be in most games. He has mediocre stats kind of all around. In Melee, it's the same thing. He has decent speed, decent follow-ups, and yeah, practically everything is just decent about him. I have a hard time to pinpoint really bad things or really good things with a character, and I guess it makes sense to have him roughly in the middle of the tier list, because unlike the characters below him, he doesn't have the same major flaws to make him bad, but he also doesn't have the good strengths that characters above him does have. So for me, it kind of makes sense to have him here. Maybe he could be below Ganon, I could see that, but for now I would say this is the placement where I feel like Mario deserves to be the most. Next character in the list is Luigi. And Luigi, he's a pretty interesting character if you ask me. He has really good ground movement with his wave dash being the longest wave dash in the game. And one thing I feel like a lot of people might not really think about when it comes to the fact that, having a long wave dash, is that it can actually be really hard to master. Because if you want to do a reaction follow-up with wave dash down smash, for example, it's also really important to make the wave dash exactly this correct length that you want, because if it's too long, then the next hit is going to be much harder or maybe even impossible to follow up with. So unlike any other character in the game really, I feel like this part is really underrated, and if you manage to get perfect wave dash lengths for the things you want to succeed in, then I think that could help Luigi quite a lot. Not only in neutral game, but also in punish game. In neutral game, I could see a wave dash that you don't, if you don't go nearly as far, for example, when you wave dash, you might be barely out of range and then slide in at the very end. So I could see some more mix-ups and better spacings with a wave dash for sure. But Luigi, he does have some bad things as well. His recovery, for example, is really bad. It's RNG dependent, and when Luigi's off stage, there's a very high chance that he will die. But when you get that occasional misfire, then of course that's really good. He also does have really bad aerial mobility, so when characters like Marth get Luigi above them, it's really hard for him to come down. But with good ground movement, he makes up for it a little bit, but it's still a hard position for Luigi to be in when he's above you. But also, unlike Mario, I would say Luigi, he does have more strengths. So he has more strengths but big weaknesses, but I feel like his strengths makes up for his weaknesses. And besides the ground movement that we already talked about, I think overall Luigi used to have a better moveset, and he's actually really hard to combo for practically every character in the game. It's more like you take one hit, you leave, one hit, leave. Luigi, a really fun character to play as, and he's also really good at sharking landings since his wave dash is really long, and his up smash is good hitbox and slightly invincible as well. So yeah, Luigi, pretty cool character indeed. Dr. Mario is a very similar character to Mario. They do have what looks like identical moves, but they are actually slightly different in terms of speed, how much percentage they give, angles they send, and so on. The major reason why I think Dr. Mario is better than Mario is that he has better kill power. Mario, especially against floaty characters, can have a really hard time to land a kill. For Dr. Mario, it's a bit easier, and that's mainly because his forward air is sending upwards, and he's actually really strong, while Mario's is sending downwards. So I would say that's a huge difference between the characters, and I would also say Dr. Mario has better gimp potential. So Dr. Mario's cape have a bigger hitbox downwards. So if someone is coming from below and is trying to get up to the ledge, Dr. Mario's cape is just objectively better, and I think that makes a huge reason because the cape can kill at a really early percentage, and Dr. Mario's backer is also sending in a slightly different angle, which sets up for easier gimps as well. And I would also say Dr. Mario's pills are better in neutral as well. But Dr. Mario, like Mario, he do have many of the same issues. He have lack of range, his recovery is bad, and actually unlike Mario, he can't wall jump after his up B. So it's not like Dr. Mario is objectively better in every way, but pros and cons considered, Dr. Mario is the better character between the two. Samus is for me a very hard character to rank. Honestly, I had a very hard time to rank Samus, Pikachu, and Yoshi. I feel like you can make arguments for all these three characters being better or worse than the other one. But I ended up going with Samus here. And to talk about some of the strengths of Samus, I would say that she's a very hard character to combo, she's hard to kill, and that's partly because her recovery is really good. But hard to kill also means like, let's say Fox is up for up air being a combo against most of the cast, actually doesn't work against Samus. So shield, for example, can be stronger since you don't get up for up aired. But the main flaw for Samus is having a really slow grab, and that's actually so hard to play around because you have to go for a hard commitment grab that actually doesn't even give you that much of a reward against a lot of characters. Especially now with slide offs and stuff being a thing as well. Even against Spaceys, the reward for the grab isn't as big any longer. I could see Samus go above Pikachu and Yoshi in the future again. As I said, they are pretty equal to me. But some areas that I could see Samus player using better is better spots to charge. Like charge slightly, like you're sending your opponent slightly away and you charge a little bit. Kind of like Peach pulling turnips in the right spots. Sometimes it might not look like you have enough time, but you barely have time. And even though like pulling a turnip would be a bigger thing than charging slightly, I still think over time it adds up. Another thing can also be better recognition for when to use your charge shots. In like reaction tech chasing, recognizing a missile will hit and maybe you can follow up with a charge shot. And I also have some ideas for edge guarding with Samus, but I haven't really tested them out yet. So maybe in a future video I'll talk about that, but no promises, no promises. It's just like a lot of things cross my mind and then I often just want to test it out. But yeah, as I said, Samus, pretty good character, and I could see Samus climb up a few placements again. Yoshi probably had the biggest jump in the tier list in fairly recent history, and Yoshi is actually a really unique character that makes him very different to fight against compared to any other character in this game. His super armor and parry are just options that don't exist for other characters, and his super armor, basically you can get hit by anything pretty much and jump through the move and then counterattack. Partly I do think people are pretty bad at dealing with Yoshi's super armor, but I also do think that Yoshi's super armor could be used really wisely. It's a big strength to have for sure. Parry, once you hit his shield, he can pretty much counterattack you out of shield right away, which is also a pretty interesting dynamic. Even though the parry is really good, it does have some major flaws like multi-hit moves, like Fox's drill kind of destroys parry, but I can still see a lot more potential with the parry. I remember I told Amsa many years ago that I did recognize a certain scenario that when people attack Yoshi's shield, they often buffer shield if they notice that Amsa is going to parry. But then I figured that if they always buffer shield, especially if they're a fast faller, maybe you can just grab instead. So I could see that mix-up maybe becoming bigger in the future, and I know Yoshi's grab is really slow, trust me, I know that, but sometimes even the bad options turns good based on how your opponent is playing. Otherwise, like, you would never grab with Yoshi or Samus or these kind of characters if like, oh, the frame data is bad, you should never use it. But yeah, also Yoshi, because of the super armor, he's really hard or even impossible to combo in a lot of scenarios, which is also a really good strength to have. No real grab is the major flaw for the character. His shield, despite being really, really good, like you can't shield poke him for example, but the fact that he can't normally like jump out of shield is a downside. It also means that he's much harder to play than a lot of characters in this particular area. But we have seen Amsa in particular push the character a lot. We also have seen Avalanche in Europe doing some work as well, and I'm personally very excited to see how much further they can push Yoshi. And with Amsa beating Hungerbox recently, I think a lot of people are gonna start having even more faith in the dinosaur. So that was it for part 3 of the tier list. I will try to get part 4 out at some point in the future. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments below how you would rank the characters from this video. And if you enjoy this video and my channel in general and you want to support, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.